back, everybody. I'm Glenn.
I'm Michael.
This is Legally Speaking, and we are joining you today remotely. I'm in Lincoln, and Michael's in Mason City today. So what's our topic for today?
Farm tenancies, how to terminate them. We're at that time of year. If you have a verbal farm lease or a written farm lease, right about now when that crop's coming out, people are preparing for what's going to happen next year. So when would you want to terminate a farm lease?
It's going to depend on the lease and the type of lease you have. So if you have a verbal agreement with your tenant, you're required to terminate that lease at least 4 months prior to the end of the crop year, which in Illinois is the end of February. So that termination has to be given before the end of this month. So October 31st is the standard deadline. But if it's in writing, if you have a lease in writing with the tenant, the lease controls what you have to do, if anything.
Okay. So if, let's say we're doing a farm deal right now where we're selling the farm and the current tenant is not going to continue on farming for the new buyer. Is that a situation before closing on that farm real estate, you would want to send out a notice of termination?
You would. Typically that's done, in a manner that everyone understands. Tenant knows that's happening, and current owner would let them know, I'm going to sell, and the new buyer wants to farm this next year, so that the current tenant doesn't do things like, start working the ground or whatever they can do before it gets too cold. So a lot of times that's amenable, but if it's not amenable for some reason, you need to have some sort of notice given to them and proof of that notice. What I usually do is either certified mail, which has become somewhat unreliable, but then absent that, have a process server serve the notice so that we have an affidavit from the process server that says they've given that person the notice as required by law.
Yeah, and I think another good practice is if you don't now have a written lease. I know historically a lot of farmers of the previous generations did a lot of stuff on handshake deals, and that's kind of the way that things have passed along to the family members. A lot of time, if you're in a farming operation with a brother or a sibling or a child, there's usually no written lease agreement. But whenever deaths in the family happen and things get messy or could be messy, it's always best to default back and have something in writing. So we're happy to discuss anything, any questions you may have about your farm tenancy or the lease that you have as a landlord. Like we said at the beginning of the video, if you're wanting to terminate a tenant at the end of this month, if it's an oral lease, that's your deadline.
Halloween.
Man,
it's coming up fast. What is today? 13th?
Today is the 12th. Yep. Early happy shout out birthday to my daughter Millie. She'll be 2 tomorrow.
Nice. My wife's birthday's Friday. She'll be a little older than that.
Okay. It's a good month. Roll right into the good weather and holidays. So
yeah, get a little playoff baseball. No Cubs, but who's
no Cardinals either. Sorry.
Yeah. Who's your pick to win it all?
I don't know. It was pretty nice watching Anthony Rizzo hit a home run last night. The Yankees look tough. But man, is Cleveland good. After you get through the trash can scandal and they're still in the playoffs every year and still dominating, I mean, they're going to be tough.
Houston?
Yep.
You said Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, Houston with the trash can. No, Cleveland, I don't think so.
All right.
It's good to see Kevin Seitzer with the Braves.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's always fun to watch high-quality baseball, which we haven't seen a lot of this year.
No. Bears play tomorrow night.
Yeah. Speaking of not high quality. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. And, as my son says, smash that like button. And we will see you next time.
Take care.